What's up, ladies and gentlemen? David Baby here. Right, we're going to be chatting about all what's going on right now. The hysteria, the hypocrisy, the Stalin's Russia has appeared on the soil of England. Walk this way. Don't do that. Wear a mask. Everywhere you go, you're told what to do, how to be. If you don't behave yourself, you're going to get a visit from the business. Elderly couple in Canada have been removed by the Gestapo. They always put their hands in their uniforms like this. Yeah. Look at me. Yeah. Lord knows where they are. I hope they're all right. This coronavirus, the hypocrisy of it all, in my village. Now, look, I deal in facts. I'm only going to deal in facts. I'm not going to deal in the Sun newspaper and the MSN and all them other balonies, because they're all fabrications, right? And they just want you to think a certain way. In my village and the next village to me, total combination of around about 14,000 people. We've had one death, ladies and gentlemen, one death from coronavirus. One, an elderly gentleman, right? One. I like them odds. I do like them odds. Maybe the second wave, it might go up to 2. I don't know when this second wave is coming. I know that there's a heat wave going on right now. I'm telling you, you try and keep people locked up. It's a heat wave. It's beautiful. Lovely to see you all. Lauren, hello, gorgeous. Beautiful man there. Feeling it. Assumpta, hello, sweetheart. I got sunburnt yesterday. We went out golfing yesterday afternoon. My word, when we walked off 18, I'd have done anything for a strawberry mivvy or a nice cold beer. It was like Ice Cold in Alice. I thought, just give me a pint of beer, man. You know, it's a great film, isn't it? Ice Cold in Alice. When they get to the bar in Alexandra and they've pushed that thing, Virginia McKenna and all that, great film. Fantastic film. If ever you've never seen Ice Cold in Alice, it's one of my most favourite films. It's fantastic. And when they get to the bar and they pour that pint, their eyes, they're like, and they go, lovely, jubbly. So we're seeing that the CDC have now turned around and said that it's very unlikely that you're going to catch coronavirus from touching fridges, freezers, etc., etc. So now I'm a bit cheesed off because I was on the 17th hole yesterday and they've now put foam around the bottom of the pin so your balls can't go in the hole, so you don't touch the flag sticks. I chipped this ball, it went in the hole and it bounced back up in the air because it compressed on the foam and it shut me out. And I went to my mate, what happened there? Because he was up in the green. He went, he said it landed in the hole, and then I went, oh, I've been cheated. I felt robbed. But anyway, it is what it is. So you had a beautiful day yesterday. Nigel Farage has been out in the Channel. Now, Nigel Farage is going to be in hot coals with the police, let me tell you, because he had a visit from the Gestapo a couple of weeks ago. And I did say back then, if you go back through my video archives, you'll see I did say that when they paid Nigel Farage a village, I've got so much to say. When they paid Nigel Farage a visit, the police, late at night, I thought, oh, they've stirred up my hornet's nest there. Hello, Tony Turton, Lorraine Page, Maureen Steele. Oh, yeah. Maureen Steele. Hello, Maureen. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Suze McCollum. Hello, sweetheart. One of my moderators in this. So behave your language because Suze will be on you. She'll be on you. All right. Just watch yourself. Don't get carried away. So, Nigel Farage had his collar felt by the police, right? Late at night, and he felt a bit aggrieved by it, and rightly so. And I'm just glad that Nigel Farage was to the social exacerbated conditions that the rest of us are placed under, right? Would Boris Johnson, the prime monster of this country, would he have had a visit from the police had he been down the docks and saying, "Here, look, check what's going on out in the Channel"? Nigel Farage only giving you the facts. So I thought to myself back then, this guy's been scorned. He's got the wind in his tail now because he now sees the police for what they are, right? Just a proper Gestapo. All these copper agencies are advertising for people to go and join as well because they know they're in a sticky wicket. They know that the times are incoming. I've never seen the police advertising for voluntary people and that so much in my life. And if you join it, remember you're going to have your brain removed and stuck up your bum. So be careful. But Nigel Farage, he's been out in the Channel on a vessel, and he's been seeing. They've recorded it and documented it. The French Navy escorting migrant boats across the channel into close to the English coastline. Unbelievable. The French are assisting. Go on, no, you got to England now. You must go to England, huh? This little island is sinking over there. This is what we like. You go over there and sing, huh? And the French. So, but Nigel, trust me, if you think he had his collar felt a few weeks ago, he is going to get busted. I'm waiting to see the Sun's headlines with Nigel Farage with his hands in cuffs going, well, I was only reporting the truth. Pity Nigel Farage didn't record the police visit. There is that. But then again, a few years ago, so you don't always act in the moment. I was sat in a little lay-by. I didn't have no tax or MOT on my motor. And two coppers had followed me down the road. I didn't realise that they were still sort of tagging me, whatever it is, these words that they use. And I sat in a lay-by with my phone in my hand because I was trying to get my sat-nav to get to my mate's house. It just moved, and I'd never been there before. Got a beautiful bungalow up in rural Kent. And this Skoda pulled up behind, and these two coppers got out, and I was like, oh, here we go. So I'm sat there thinking, this could get a bit medieval, this could get a bit gangster. And all I did was I grabbed the steering wheel, shut my eyes and prayed for protection. I said, nothing bad's going to happen here today. A bit of a Jedi mind trick. And when I opened my eyes, I looked at them. I had a ringing in my ears. I could see the lips moving. Well, the older one, the younger one was just looking in. He looked about 19. And I couldn't understand what he was saying. Next thing, they just jumped in their car and went. And I was like, whoa. Anyway, I went and done my job and then come home and thought, what happened there today? But I wasn't thinking straight at the time. I was trying to get the sat-nav going. It was only when they got back in their car and the relief come over me, I thought, I'm not going to get my back doors smashed in today. And we should never. Why do we fear? Why do we fear the police? Whether you got tax insurance or you ain't got tax insurance, is it the right thing to do? Is it the wrong thing to do? I don't know. All I know is that the corporations are mugging everyone off in this country like there's no tomorrow. I'm fortunate enough, if I crashed into someone's car, I could buy them a new one. Not everyone's got the ability to do that. But so they just went, but I didn't record it. But all these corporations, they've slammed up. They put us in the slammer, people. Oh, you ain't got insurance, we'll take your car. You couldn't have owned it in the first place. And that's what we're trying to come in here to do, to teach people that you don't own stuff. You have no control over your stuff. You have no control over your kids, your cars, your home. Because the councils put orders on it, they want to come and take it away. Why? Because they're operating in a trust, and we haven't collapsed that trust or set the trust straight. It's all been misconstrued, and we need to sort it out. So anyway, I started recording them as they disappeared, and it was only up for about a week, and it had 30,000 views, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I got them dry. I said they turned up, and they come round, they turn around, they come back past me, and they just left me, and God bless them for doing that, But why do we fear coppers? We shouldn't be fearing anyone in public sector. We shouldn't fear the doctor. We shouldn't fear the NHS that they're going to... Look, no one's being resuscitated over the age of 65. So, no, we can't treat you. So who mandated that? Who mandated and who brought that in that anyone over 65... By the way, I'm only 12 years off of that, right? Who meant that? Oh no, if you're over 65, you're on a ventilator. If you can't sort yourself out, you're off to the old slammer. You're going in the deep freeze. God, Jesus Christ Almighty! Whoever mandated that? So much for centurions and centurions, whatever they're called. When you get to over 100, you get a postcard off the Queen. Although she's gone into hiding, you can't see the Queen for hiding her hair. There's something going on in this country right now. There really, really is. But Nigel Farage will get a collar felt, I'd imagine, for the latest thing I've just seen him doing, which he's actually been into the channel on a small vessel, and he's witnessed and recorded migrants coming over in their little dinghy boats, whatever they are, being escorted by the French Navy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So we're the last stop shop, maybe, England, the last stop shop. There was a young girl who's been beheaded. I'm not going to say her name on here. unless I can find it, a little while ago. She was beheaded by some ideological crazies. A young girl, gorgeous young girl, they tried chopping her head off in a park with her parent, with her mother. And I mean, she passed away through the injuries, but they tried to take her head off. I'm like, what are we allowing? And the police are facilitating this. The police should be, no, you go, but we don't want it. Why? Look, I'm all for peace and religion. I don't care, but I've got loads of mates that go to prayer and do all this and that, but they're peace-loving people. When you get all this stuff about murder, rape and pillage, I'm not so sure we should be tolerating it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave that. That's the new saying at the moment. I'm just going to leave this here. Have you noticed all the posts you're getting on your social media? I'm just going to leave this one here. Look, well, where left it? Is it? What's going on? So I like that. I like that. So it's rather than forcing people to view it, it's like, I'm just going to leave this one here. If you decide to tune in and rip the knob off, blessings to you. But if you don't, you don't. You know, everyone's entitled to their bag. And yesterday, there was a guy that, before I went to golf, he was chatting about, he said, oh, you probably couldn't afford insurance tax with the car you drive. Not me, but and I said, so you think having a license, insurance and tax is a good thing? Yeah. I said, well, you're just a good little slave. I said, you need to think outside the box. You know, all men are created equal. Why have we allowed corporations to rule over us? And I said to him, look, I'm not here. I said, you have to go and do your own research. If you go and do your own research into what happens. Now, if I say this, right, if all of our families were left alone and government was tiny and it never interfered with us in our private and only dealt with business and corporations like pubs, clubs, all that stuff, all the business operation, that's all councils and government should operate on. That's it. That's all they were ever mandated to do. They weren't supposed to be interfering in our private lives until this central registration thing came in about 100 years ago. Well, less than that, about 1935, I think, the birth certificate, and this we become the currency. So it's got to go. That system has got to go, and I think it will go. I think too many people now know all about this corporate swindle and the birth certificate frauds, etc., etc., etc. I think that time will be up because the two guys that bought in the birth certificate fraud, Mandel House and Woodrow Wilson, who, when he left presidency in America, he said, I've done something terrible to the American people. He said, Lord, forgive me. Those was his words. He said, I hope God forgives me for what I've done to the American people. He said, and if they ever find out what I've done, he said, they will hang us all. Government have always been in fear that we'll figure this swindle out, and we've done it. But their quotation was that we'll make everyone beg for state benefits. And they said not one man in a million will ever figure it out. And they said, by chance, if they do, we've always got deniable plausibility on our side, in our arsenal, they said. But too many people know about it now. So the chances of this thing carrying on, this gig running off, I don't think it's going to be too good. Hello, Bill. Nice to see you, love. Tony Turton says, they wouldn't let Nigel record them passing over the bribe when they were handing over the migrants. Yeah, there you go. You see, that's what I love about all this. You guys are really paying attention. And you're spreading all your beautiful information to all your friends and families, and you're doing it in a nice, polite way. So, you know, you're just planting seeds. Jesus said, you know, be a sower of seeds. And that's all I do. I just plant seeds into people, and if they want to water them, they go and water them. If they don't, they just die and wither up. It's not a problem if people listen to me. If they don't listen to me, I'm really not that. I'm not bothered. You know, I'm comfortable in my own skin. So we should see a new world because too many people now know what's going on. Joel Mulholland, hello, sweetheart. VK, by the way, VK platform. If you want to jump over to VK platform, it is a Russian equivalent of Facebook. I tell you what, I'm loving it. There's so many people jumping on board over there. Like so many, it's not censored. You are free to speak and post what you want. You really are, as long as the content's fairly decent. But you're allowed free speech over there. It's so easy to use. It's just as easy as Facebook to navigate. We tried MeWe. We weren't that clever. It's okay. I'll still pop into MeWe every now and again. But I have to say that VK it's not censored. It's Russian equivalent. And it seems to be really, 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 really good right now. UK health workers to take hydrochloroquine as part of a global coronavirus trial. Now, I don't know whether you know about this story, and this is from the ITV.com. Hydroxychloroquine. I shall put my teeth back in and try and say this properly. Hydroxychloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine. That's what this stuff is called. President Trump himself has been taking it on advice of this doctor. Now, quinine, right, is fantastic for killing viruses and bacteria. So I'm going to prove something here, right? Every year, as you can see, my golf clubs, all right, I go, we won't be going this year, obviously, because no, it's a no-go zone. No one's allowed to fly. It's like trying to get into Beirut. We go abroad. Me and sort of 15 other lads, we go and have a week wherever we are, Portugal, Spain, Turkey, Morocco. We've been quite a few destinations. We have such a lovely time. I play some fantastic golf. It's awesome. But I've always found I've got ill within a day or two, and you know what happens when you go abroad, then you go, oh dear, I don't feel too good, and blah, 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 blah. But a friend of mine said to me, do you like gin and tonic, Dave? I went, not really tried it. Well, anyway, he said the quinine in it is really good for your system and to kill bugs and viruses. I went, really? He said quinine's been used for years, Dave. Quinine is, that's why I call it tonic. That's why they call it tonic water. It's a tonic, darling. You're bathing in greatness. So that particular year, I might have a couple of drinks, but at the end of the night, I'd always have 2 or 3 gin and tonics, you know, the long ones with all the bits and bobs in it, the ice and all the slices, and that's lovely. And I got through that week, and I come home, I went, cool, do you know what? I feel pretty good. The normal stuff that went on me illness, that never happened. So quinine, if you look, gin and tonic or just tonic water, fantastic, right? So let's see what happens here. I don't know if this is just going to play out with the ITV.com.news. Let's have a look at what they're talking about. Hydroxychloroquine. I just said it, people. I just said it. VK is great, and I'll tell you, your videos play better on the Brave internet browser. Tony, I don't know what the Brave internet browser is, darling. You might have to send that one over to me if you don't mind. That'd be fantastic. Right, so let's just swap over. They're great, them pinhole glasses, but everything looks a bit dark. So, right, we're back to the lockdown glasses. Frontline health workers in England or the UK. Remember, the UK is a corporation. It's not real. The England is. That's why we've got the English football team, ladies and gentlemen. All right? They don't call it the UK football team. This is England. England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, part of this great union. Frontline health workers will be able to take part in a clinical trial now, this is the power of the president, right? He is the president of America, and he's been taking it, and this is how easy it is to steer and lead people, right? Because he's a president and he's in a privileged position, and everyone, well, yeah, he's the president. Oh, he's the president, right? It's like our elders years ago. We're elders. Oh, he's the elder. He's a knowledgeable man. I'll tell you what, this guy knows everything, right? And we go and we listen and we take from it. That's a good thing, but we just still question everything. Frontline workers are going to be able to take part in a clinical trial to see whether this malaria drug, this is a malaria drug, is being used by Donald Trump, prevents coronavirus. Frontline healthcare workers will be able to take part in a worldwide clinical trial to see whether this drug being used by Donald Trump, no less, prevents coronavirus. Remember, Donald Trump is still just a man. He's still got all the bodily functions that you have. Exactly the same. He's not a god. He's not a pariah. We shouldn't put these people up on too much of a high pedestal. For once, I actually don't like leaders. I think everyone should just come together and try and work things out. A new study aims to establish whether hydroxychloroquine can prevent COVID-19 from staff in Brighton and Oxford while the study is opening from Thursday. People, just drink loads of tonic. Get down your shops, just get loads of tonic water, smack it on ice, whack a bit of lemon in there, whack some strawberries in there, rack some mint in there. You've got the way you can fragrance that stuff up, and it tastes so nice. And if you're partial, stick a gin in it. That's all I'm saying. Stick a gin in there. Stick a gin. It's fantastic for you. I love it. So this has all come about. This is more than 40,000 people work with confirmed or suspected coronavirus patients from Europe, Africa, Asia, South America will take part in the random tests. Bearing in mind, we've had one old boy die from 14,000 people in my 2 villages. That's all I'm saying. I'm giving you the facts. That's all that's happened. There's been no one else die. We're not throwing our dead out. We don't have massive big burial pits. Back in the plague, there would have been massive burial pits, right? Opened up. They would have been exposed until they were full of dead, rotting carcasses, and then they would have been topped off. I do believe that the plague victims that went up to Blackheath in London, I'm hearing stories that, I think this is historical. To contain that within the ground of the bodies that passed away, the people that passed away, right, all living, breathing souls, there would have been some backfilling. And I've heard that they put a lead line top, like sheets of lead over the top to stop it coming up through the ground before they put, I don't know, 6-8 foot back on top. I don't know how deep it was. But back then, I know that the Black Death plague people went up to Blackheath Common. That's why it's called Blackheath, right? Because of the deaths. And I know that back then, thousands and thousands of people were dying, and you had to pass them out on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock, right? That's what all this clapping's about. All this clapping is because back when the plague was going in 1865 or 1685 in this country, it wouldn't have been 1865, it was longer than that ago. The people used to come around and collect the bodies on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock because the temperature was dropping, right? And to let them know you had a body, you had to clap. The rituals. Donald Trump is taking hydroxychloroquine to try to prevent catching coronavirus. So what is it? We really don't know if chloroquine, which is quinine, probably a little bit of chlorine in there as well. I'm not too sure the chlorine's fantastic for your body. Is hydroxychloroquine beneficial or harmful against COVID? So they're doing tests now to see whether it's good or bad. The best way to find out. But why are they taking their time to research this is because Donald Trump's taking it. That's the only reason. If Trump never come out and said to the media the other day, I'm taking hydroxychloroquine, and they all had a hissy fit, they had a meltdown. They went, what? President of America. And don't forget, Donald Trump's dinners, when he gets served up his grub, 4 or 5 people have to have that grub, the same grub out the same pot before he does. Yeah, a bit like Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler used to have all these guinea pigs sit round him. They'd eat the grub first. He'd probably give it 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, see whether they had any adverse reactions. Because there were people and agents and provocateurs out there trying to kill him at the time. You've probably all seen Valkyrie. So then he'd go, well, none of them are dropped dead. None of them are showing symptoms. Probably give it an hour. Then he tucked into his nosh. So away we go. The best way to find out if it's effective in preventing COVID-19 is a randomized clinical test. Like I said, Pete, I am under no illusion that there are people dying. But is it a pandemic or an epidemic? No, not a chance. Because the numbers don't suggest that to be the fact. It's not that. You would only call something an epidemic or a pandemic pretty much after the fact, when millions and thousands of people are dead. The Spanish flu recorded in history after 50 million died. 50 million died. We're not seeing them numbers, because if it was true, we'd have lost half of our village. It'd smell. I'd walk out there and go, what? And all the pestilence and that's all I'm saying. You go back through the journals, go back through the history and find out what it was like, and it's recorded, living with the plague, living with the Spanish flu, what people were doing, what their habits were like, what they did, what worked for them, what didn't work for them. It's amazing that humanity's still here, really, when you consider all the wars and all the stuff's going on. Stuart James, gorgeous to have you, love. Nice to see you. So yeah, that's a report there, people, from the ITV saying that they're doing clinical trials on hydroxychloroquine. I will just say there's a Met Police video turned up, and I am reminded to say on Saturday, when people dared to go against the state party, this communist fascist regime, how dare you go out, you naughty swines. The Met Police obviously are not exercising social distancing, so they either know something that we don't or they're stupid. You can make your own mind up on that one, because I know within myself, having a mosidium of common sense, if I had people that were working with me and around me dropping dead and their family members dropping dead, trust me, I would not be in a square mile radius near them. I just wouldn't. I would come to a compromise with whoever it is I was working for and say, look, listen, I'll go and do me beat round there and do a bit of square bashing to keep everything straight and safe. We used to see coppers all the time years ago in London. They used to call them flatfoots, because they'd just always be out pounding the streets on their own, looking for crime and making sure everything was safe. We don't see that now. We just see the Sweeney turn up and the Gestapo turn up in their motors and their massive weapons of war. And they've turned into something very ambiguous. That's all I will say. So would a copper be associated in his base, in his cars, in these big wagons where there's 20, 30 of them when they come out on their right? Would you go and sit within spitting distance of one? No, you wouldn't. If there was thousands of people dying, you would not. But the point I'm getting to is that on Saturday they dropped a man to the ground, and there is people saying that they tased him, because he looked as though he dropped to the ground very quick into a seating position, and a grimace come over his face. There was a copper that come up behind him, and someone that was there said he got tased in the back, because a taser you can either stick up against someone or you fire it, right? Because you've got two little copper barbs or two barbs on copper wires, filaments, and they fire out. They're not very accurate, more over 12 foot away, because these barbs are going all over the place. But one of them has to stick into either your clothing or your skin. Lovely, aren't they? Public servants with their weapons. They're beautiful, beautiful weapons they've created. Then they give you the dig, and then you hit the deck, and then all of a sudden you probably pee yourself and do other bits and bobs. So it looked like this guy dropped the deck a bit lively and awkwardly, and then they've grabbed him by his arms, and then this copper's come in and kneed him, and he broke his hip. He broke the man's hip. Now, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that hip bone is a big bone. It's not like breaking a bone in your finger. It looks like I've broken all my fingers, all these hard works over the years. But he broke his hip. Where's the outcry? Where's the NHS worker saying this is cruel and unusual punishments? And I will say this here and for the record. You should never live in this great country called England, right? Ireland, Scotland, Wales, in any country, whatever it is that you live in, and you should never be ruled by a rod. No. Don't care. There's no excuse that you can come up with for me that will satisfy me that the use of this excessive force and violence is any measure for what they get up to. And they should use violence as a last resort, like when their own life is in danger. That's the only time they should ever use force. I personally want the police either disbanded or placed back to a service and have their weapons restricted, because to me, and I hope you can all see it, they've turned into a Gestapo-like SS band of people. And you can't question people like that because they're arrogant, they're rude. A lot of these MPs yesterday, watching this stuff they're doing, they sit there, they swagger, they strut. They're arrogant people that strut around like the master race. And if ever you go back into history and you look at how the people were within the Third Reich, you couldn't question none of them. Their arrogance superseded them. Everyone used to be scared of them when they come round the corner. Oh, don't come away from the window. Don't say this or that. We shouldn't be doing stuff like that. We should never have any public servants bringing any harm, cruel or unusual punishments to us. And our ancestors left us all this stuff in place, people. Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, not our laws. They enshrined it so that it limited the state. And the Magna Carta also no cruel or unusual punishments or forfeitures. None. No cruel or unusual. So I would suggest breaking a man's hip is a cruel and unusual punishment, right? I would say cuffing someone so tight that you've cut their wrist and you're on their bones is a very cruel and unusual punishment. I would say that cuffing them round the back, hog tying, is a cruel and unusual punishment. I would say that cuffing should be light so you can't slip through. You should be cuffed from the front. That's how they always used to do it. But hog tying someone and then they grab them from the back is a very dangerous thing. They have turned into tyranny, and the longer that you turn a blind eye and don't do and stand for uprightness, fairness, and integrity, you are manifesting and you are allowing this to go on. I won't. I do not fund these cretins in any shape, form. The state does not put its hand in my pocket anymore. I won't let these people do it. And in fact, I'm working on measures right now to reverse that trust so that I am the one and they work for me, because we are sovereign people. We are not these dead, lifeless corporations that they think we are. We are not. All right. So what is going on? We have a real weird situation going on with arrows being placed on street. It's socialism, guys. You are frog marching in, because this all started off in China, right? This thing started off in China, and it's a respiratory thing. It's all to do with your respiratory system. It's all to do with your lungs and oxygen, and how the oxygen is playing around with your lungs. And it can be terrifying. I know that people have had it, and it is terrifying for them. But the majority pull through. If they're unwell in the first place and they've got a low immune system and they're not taking all their vitamins and minerals, then they're very susceptible to whatever it is that's coming. But what we have to understand first and foremost is that China is a communistic country. It runs on communism. They have an imperial flipping ruling regime, and it's fine for China to do what it does because it's a communist country. We're not communist. This is a land of common law jurisdiction where the rule of law applies. Now, what is the rule of law? The rule of law is that everybody is subject to it. The judges, the coppers, you are all subject to the rule of law. All right? That's not the case no more. The family courts, we know the family courts have been subverted. And in the family courts, you've got thought crime. You've got George Orwell's thought crime going on, all right? Precognitive. It's like that Tom Cruise movie. What's it called? Where they arrest you before the thing happens. And that's just them bringing this system in. They take kids on future emotional harm. Well, it's an oxymoron, people. It's just so wrong. And these judges and the system, shame on you for doing this. Shame on you for not making sure that families stay together. You are fascist bully boys. That's all this system is now. Here we go. CDC says coronavirus. Let's stay on topic a little bit. Coronavirus. Let's see what it's saying. It's just loading. It's saying that this thing's not really, if you touch something that someone else is touching, basically what the CDC is saying is that you're not going to catch nothing. If it loads, it's taking its time. Zuckerberg on Lamestream talking about taking down 5G posts. Good. They are trialing hydroxychloroquine in UK. Yeah, it is, Fiona. It's really good, because whatever we do, it should be about the preservation of life. And who gets to make these decisions? Who gets to live and die? The state now makes it. By the way, if you haven't opted out of the organ transplant thing into this Frankenstein world that we live in, your organs will be harvested from you. And don't forget, your organs actually have to be harvested from you whilst you're still alive. Because once the body dies, and because people, what you've got to understand is in your blood, there is that spirit, the soul. There's something in the blood that whilst you're alive, the minute that your soul leaves your body, and I mean the minute that your soul leaves your body, your blood is no good to man or beast. No good. doesn't have that electrical energy. It doesn't have the proton, neutron, and electrons in it. That blood cannot be used for anything, nor can your organs. You have to be alive. So the British government, the British establishment, the fascist dictator, corporate, whatever it is that it's coming up with now, is saying if you haven't signed an opt-out, I opted out last year. I told them, don't touch my kin body. My body's my temple, people. It's not for anybody else. And if my wish is to go and help someone, like give a kidney or give some blood, that's my choice. Everything should be about your free choice. And the fact that they're saying you have the right to opt out and not consent still means that the law is on your side, that you still have the right to say yes or no. But now they're saying if you haven't opted out, we are going to take all, just take it. If you want to opt out of the organ donation, just go online to the NHS website. I think there's an opt-out option on there. Just put organ donor in on YouTube, Google, DuckDuckGo, whatever it is you want to use, and organ donation opt-out, and it will come up. And you just do it online and just say, yeah, just leave my body alone. Everything for me has to be about consent. It has to be about you being the absolute authority over what goes on in your lives, all right? If you want to donate, if you want to give, fantastic, because it's being done with your blessings. It's being done with your God-given consent. No one should be forced they should not have this mentality that we're just going to take it anyway. Because that's ownership, that's plantation. And we don't live on a plantation. Genesis 9:4, but you shall not eat flesh. You shall not eat flesh with its life. That is its blood. There you go. My Bible's holding this microphone down at the minute, so I'd like to get that online. Right, okay, so here we go. CDC now saying that coronavirus does not spread easily via contaminated surfaces. Right, so everyone's out there hand sanitizing. And I went to the golf course yesterday, and the guy said, there's some scorecards, there's some hand sanitizer. I went, no, man, don't use it. I said, I just wash with soap and water. He said, well, why not? I said, because it's alcohol-based, and I don't want it leaching through my epidermis, through my oils that are naturally built up in my skin. I don't want that alcohol and whatever else that's in there, for the formaldehyde, getting into my body. And he went, I've never heard that one before. I said, soap and water is clinically, and it's been tested to be the most thorough form of cleanliness. How did they do that? The other week, they got 3 slices of bread. They washed their hands, inserting this, that. I've been fixing my golf trolley this morning because my gearbox has gone. That's not a euphemism. My gearbox went. So I've had a little play around with that. So I've got dirty hands. So, but I think we need dirt and grit and stuff because it builds our immune system up, right? But they did a test and they put on this bread, one that's been hand sanitizers, one's been washed with a thingy, and one done in soap and water. And the one that left the less contaminants and it was good and the bread didn't mind it was just a good old-fashioned soap and water. You can't beat that. So, for all those still wiping down groceries and other packages amid the ongoing coronavirus scamdemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, breathe a sigh of relief. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDDs, these ones, the almighty Oz, now say that the novel virus does not spread easily from touching surfaces or objects. Common sense, baby. Yes, I love it. But experts warn, because you always got to have an expert. I know nothing about nothing. If anyone says, oh, Dave, I know nothing about nothing, mate. Don't worry about it. I'm just talking from my heart. You know, I don't sit down doing hours of research. That's not me. It's that it is. You like it, you don't, you know, it's just what it is. But now they're saying the experts warn that it doesn't mean it's no longer necessary to take practical and realistic precautions in stopping the spread of COVID 1984. Though it is not exactly clear when the federal, and don't forget, federal government is a corporation. It's not a real de jure by the people for the people government, right? Federal is a corporation. Health Agency appears to have recently changed its guidelines from early March to simply say it may be possible to spread the virus from contaminated surfaces. The CDC now includes surfaces or objects such as section that details ways in which coronavirus does not readily transmit. Copper, by the way, copper tube, copper tape, copper vessels. It's hydroveric way of killing viruses. If you put some copper, bearing in mind all our old coins years ago were, I think they were 99% copper. You put copper in water, it kills all. It's really good for you. Apparently it's really, really good. I do a lot with water. I distill, I remineralize. Jamie Bennett does. He runs his Rife machines or his Spooky Tooth, he puts a frequency in there. And he actually got his DNA and put his own DNA into the frequency of the colloidal silver that he's been producing. He's really doing some fantastic stuff, and many people have used Jamie Bennett's colloidal silver and just seen some fantastic results. My friend had really bad eczema, Welsh Dave, really bad eczema, like you wouldn't believe. Psoriasis, it was psoriasis actually, it wasn't eczema. And he'd been trying all these creams from the doctors, this, that, the other. And between Jamie's colloidal silver and cannabis oil, this psoriasis was pretty much gone within about a week or two. And I mean gone. So fantastic. And it's lovely to see that people have got this wisdom about them now, that they're going back to the old ways, to the botanists and all that. You know, all of our medications years ago were absolutely natural. Because one thing's for sure, ladies and gentlemen, let me just open this window. It's a bit warm in here. Your body and your cells will assimilate with nature, plants. And that's a given. And I don't think that can really be questioned. But what it has trouble with assimilating with is chemicals and things that are not natural and been superheated. That's why pharmaceuticals very rarely cure, but mainly just mask a thing. That's all they do. They just mask a thing. They don't really do much. And a bag of chemotherapy at the moment, I think it's about 8,000 quid. It's a bit weird, isn't it? That something that is that, and they go, oh, it's all the research and design. You know, I'm like, no, you're just swindling us all. You're just making us. And look, if it was all working and their system was working and pharmaceuticals were fantastic and working, people would be getting better. You wouldn't have cancer at 1 in 2. You wouldn't. 50 years ago, cancer was 1 in 27. Microwaves, one of the biggest killers of the 21st century. My missus said to me a couple of years ago, we need to get another microwave, so I threw it out. I said, why? I haven't got time to warm my milk up in the morning to put on me thingy in a thing. I went, oh, really? You're that strapped for time? I said, so in years to come when cancer kicks in because you've microwaved your food, I said, and you have to go for your chemo, I said, will you have time to spend a whole day with a big needle in your arm, having them chemicals flushed around your body? What will you do when you've got to sit for a whole day and have that stuff flushed around your body? What are you going to do? You've not got time for that? You got time? What you got time for? And that's the argument I have with people, because is it not quicker now just to spend a minute warming up your milk in a saucepan? If you take milk, I stopped milk a long time ago. Or you're going to sit for a whole day while you're having a chemo needle. Now, my friend Del Iron's done a fantastic experiment not so long ago. He's been growing lots of fruit and veg hydroponically using fish in fish tanks and whatever's going on in there. They've been wick feeding, and he's been growing some fantastic things, right? Now, he got raided by the police, by Kent Police, and one of these coppers that raided him, he looked like he was off his nut on something, like heroin or cocaine. His eyes were bugging out of his head. And they beat him up in his own shop in front of his 8-year-old boy. And these boys crying his eyes out. Daddy, 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 what's going on? And these two coppers are smashing the granny out of him. And all he was growing was fruit and veg. Leave that one there. But he did an experiment a couple of weeks ago, because he's been growing all this loveliness, and people go to his shop, they're buying all these hydroponic kits, they're going home and they're growing so much stuff now. It's awesome, and it's organic, and it's all really, really good for you. Although I don't think you can beat putting it in the soil and getting all the proper nutrition and the nitrogens and all that from your soil. But if that's what you've got to do and that's the next best thing, why not? At least it's healthy. He did an experiment where he got water, whacked it in the microwave, whacked it on, boiled it, let it cool down, and then he put it on these plants and all the other bits and bobs, and they were dead within a couple of days. Gone from fantastic, healthy, vibrant, whatever, to dead. So I would love to see microwaves be listed as one of the biggest killers of the 21st century, because I hope and pray that in time that actually transpires. They are really bad for you people. You've got no idea how bad a microwave is. So the CDC are now saying that this coronavirus may remain in the air for up to 3 hours, right? And remember, a virus is not a living thing. It's not a living thing. What it does, it attacks your cells and it pulls out exosomes from your cells, right? And that's the dangerous part about this. So it says it can be alive for up to 3 hours. This is after their experts doing all their testing. Remain in the air for up to 3 hours and live on a surface such as plastic or stainless steel for up to 3 days, promoting many to take wiping down packages and other items. However, at the time, the study was not yet peer reviewed, whatever that means. And as Yazoo notes, did not determine if people could be infected from touching surfaces. Could be, it was being analysed. So the CDC have backed down now. And it also says it may also help reduce anxiety and stress. Have you been in a supermarket? Have you seen the way people are reacting? Have you? It's like you've all turned into the boogeyman, and that you're all looking at each other like zombies. Yeah, when you go to the supermarket, you can see them all in there. They're all rolling. They're all looking and scanning. And if someone makes a move and steps outside the 2 meter radius, or heaven forbid, I'll go in there with a hay fever attack, I'll have the supermarket to myself. But the levels of language, and this guy was working for a couple of days ago. Him and his sister went shopping, and he went the wrong way down an aisle. How dare he? How dare you people go the wrong way down an aisle in your Lidl's, Aldi's, Tesco, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, wherever it is you're going? How dare you? You are so disgusting. You are terrible, terrible people. So he's going down the wrong way. And people are going, you're going the wrong way, Daniel. We're all going to die. We're going to die. Don't leave me, Jack. Come back, Jack. Come back, Jack. She should let his hand go and let him disappear under the thing, didn't she? So it's saying that it's going to reduce anxiety and stress. Many people, I sounded like that guy off Little Britain, didn't I? Many people were concerned that by simply touching an object, don't touch nothing, you may get coronavirus, and that's simply not the case. Hallelujah. Even when a virus may stay on the surface, it doesn't mean that it's actually infectious. Fox News, White told Fox News in an email. I think the new guidelines help people understand more about what it does and doesn't increase risk. It doesn't mean we stop washing hands and disinfecting in services. That's a fantastic thing to do. But that's always been a good practice for the flu and all other. I don't remember like the sensationalism last year of 30,000 people dying of the flu. Old people in hospitals with pneumonia, coughing their guts up. I don't never see that in the newspaper or being given out and saying, we've got to be careful of the flu. It's a killer. The flu kills 30,000 a year in this country. Dr. William Schaffner, when he off Star Trek, the medical director of the National Foundation for Infectious Diseases, the NFID, and professor of the Vanderbilt University School of Medicine, echoed what was said above. It says here that the virus that causes COVID-19 is thought to spread, just thought, because no one knows. There isn't a scientist or anyone in this world that knows the truth. As man or a woman going to know how a virus is going to predicate, and react. Someone tell me. It's the blind leading the blind, people. They should all have blind sticks. I'm not having a dig at anyone that's got blindness. God bless you. But you should all be walking around with these white sticks, tacking the walls, because you don't know. You might be some big medical professor, but you think a virus is really good. Leave off. Behave yourself. So what you're saying is it's thought to be spread mainly through close contact within 6 foot. There you go. That's your communism and that flying in there. Person to person. Well, persons ain't real. Persons are artificial constructs. Only men and women here in the real world. I don't know if you know that. Let's get into the matrix. The truth of the fact of the matter is, in this world, only men and women live. Persons are not real. Go and look up the definitions of persons. Real persons, artificial persons. The fact that there's something called an artificial person should lead you to the same conclusions that I've been led to. Person to person is a highway. Oof. So there's a highway out there now. If you're all within 6 foot of each other, it's a highway. What about the Met Police then? When 150 of them all stood together side by side on Saturday. Wasn't that a highway? Did they not create a highway, or do they know something that we don't know? Are they immune from it? Is it the uniform that gives immunity? What's going on? Is it the radios they wear? Does that give immunity from a virus? Come on. Hello, darling. I have to go back and watch from the beginning. Just seen you live. Sonia, it's beautiful to have you here. Thank you. Fiona Pullen, she's crying her eyes out with laughter. Oh, Dave, it's awful. I've been to Lidl's and the tannoy, constant out to wash your hands and to be considerate for other people. I looked at me hubby and said, damn, I was planning on smacking the shit out of Oh, that's funny. Mate, supermarkets, crazy places right now. Crazy places. We're shopping local. I'm growing loads as well. I've got loads going on the growing front. My spuds are really starting to sprout right now, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, they're popping right up. Oh, this one I love. I absolutely love this. Why do I love it? Because when you can not get at someone, that's not what I try and do. But when you can like pull on people's psyches and their internalness and make them think outside the box. That's all I try and do. Is like say, people, what's going on, right? Well, President Trump, I don't know whether many of you do or you don't know this, right? Is doing something with regards to Obama, right? Now, this is the first time in history that this has ever happened, right? President Donald Trump is refusing to unveil President Obama's portrait at the White House, breaking a 40-year tradition. Now, just let that sink in. I'm excited. I'm going to say it again because it's fantastic. President Donald Trump is refusing point blank to unveil the late President Obama's portrait at the White House, breaking a 40-year tradition. That's fantastic. And I think Obama's going to get his collar felt by the Trump administration. I really do. And I think that time's coming. So for the last 40 years, how many presidents has there been in? You had Nixon, Reagan. Oh, I can't think. There's probably been about 5, I guess, 5 or 6. So they've all had their portraits put round. Whoa, look at me. Oh, yeah. Wow. Do you remember that? He was a great president. Oh, where's that one that got head on? Oh, he had his brain blown out. Oh. So but Trump said, no, we're not doing it. Man, there's people, let me tell you. Trump and Obama have had an extraordinarily contentious relationship, which hit a new low in recent days as Trump made unfounded accusations that his predecessor committed an unspecified crime. So Trump's already laid down the foundations, right? The perhaps some of you out there know. Perhaps you can put a list up of how many presidents the United States have had since from 40 years ago. Because I think Donald Trump's the 40-something president. I don't really pay attention to politics. My missus said to me, "You do?" I said, "I don't. I hate politics with a passion." President Donald Trump will not hold a ceremony at the White House for the unveiling of former President Barack Obama's portraits, NBC News reported. This marks a break from the 40-year tradition honoured by presidents from both parties. President Donald Trump won't be unveiling at the White House, NBC. Obama will not be interested in attending such an event, according to reports which cited people familiar with the matter. The White House and the representative for Obama did not immediately respond to requests for comment from insiders. For decades, first-term presidents have held ceremonies in the East Room to unveil a portrait of their immediate predecessor. Obama did so for former President George W. Bush in 2012. Do you remember how George W. Bush smiled when he was in that kid's playroom and he was addressing a classroom of kids when that guy come in and told him that the Twin Towers had been here? Have you seen his body language and he's smirking? Mate, I'll see through that man straight away. So, we're not seeing it. When you went out of your way to make sure that the transition of a new administration was a seamless one possible, Obama said at the time. Trump and Obama have perhaps the most contentious relationship of any current or former presidents in modern US history. In recent days, Trump had made baseline allegations that Obama committed an unspecified crime. Ooh, and Trump has been rolling out the word treason a lot. I don't know if you've been paying attention, right? Trump is the 45th president. Thanks, Tone. 45th, 2 Bushes, a Clinton, Obama, Reagan, and this is Fiona Pullen's knowledge. And you've done well, Fiona. You've done really well on this trivia quiz, right? 5B5 to you, sister. So she's saying that we've had 2 Bushes. Some women have had 2 Bushes. I'll tell you that, change the design all the time. So we've had 2 Bushes, a Clinton, Obama, a Reagan, a Carter. Sounds about right. Because it's only been 45 since all this president stuff from Lincoln, Abraham's all been going on. So sounds about right. There have been 45 presidents, including the current one. Those term being in 2017, 44 different individuals have served as president. Truly Horn. What a wealth of knowledge you are, my young lady. Beautiful. So despite the rocky past, Obama wrote Trump an Inauguration Day letter in 2017 and left the desk in the drawer in the Oval Office saying it was beautiful. But then it didn't last long. Trump had frequently blamed Obama for various issues he faced as a president, including the issue for testing of COVID-19. Obama has generally avoided the limelight since leaving the White House. In the rare instances he criticised Trump, the former president has often done so without saying his successor's name. Over the weekend, Obama appeared to have a dig at Trump's response to the coronavirus pandemic, but did not implicitly mention him. So they're clever, these little people, aren't they? So Obama and Trump are not getting on. So, yeah, the standard again, the standard.co.uk, NHS staff to be drug tracking for the hydroxychloroquine. So that's rolled off, all off the back of President Trump. And it's amazing. He's a right player, whether you like him or you don't like him. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he's really throwing a spanner in the works. And I think he's bringing common sense back on a lot of fronts. And that's why the snowflakes can't handle him, because it's so easy to just exist and live in a normal existing paradigm without questioning. But now we don't live in that. We're living in dangerous times. We've got a police farce out there that wants to half kill us all. And I'm pretty sure if the police got the order today from their superiors saying, if you get any grief, you can start killing them and shooting them, I think they would. And that's sad. That's proper sad. Britain's leader, Britain First leader Paul Golding convicted of terrorism offences. I just wish that Jada Franson, that Paul Golding, Tommy Robinson, all these others would actually learn the law and would actually start researching the difference between a legal fiction, a state-created fiction, and a real man and woman, and how to be the beneficiary of the trust. And I really would love them to just start going back and learning all the constitutional law, and then maybe they would find themselves not in all this hot water. I'll give you, for instance, my mate Daddy Dragon, Graham Moore, love him. I've known Graham a long time. We're good buddies, and he got arrested quite a few years ago, which I was there outside Buckingham Palace petitioning the Queen. We all have a right to petition the monarch, all right? But I actually think the monarch is in really dangerous times. I really do think they're in dangerous times. And the Queen going so quiet and disappearing is evidence of that. And I'm hearing reports that the crown, the crests on the front of Buckingham Palace, they've even been taken. One of them's been taken off or covered over by a black screen or a disc so that you can't see it. So Lord knows what's going on. Lord, but something is going on. Something is going on. But the point I'm getting to, Graham Moore got arrested, taken to Westminster police station where he was held in a cell, and everyone that was there. Actually, no, it was the second. Was it the time I went or the other time? So I don't think I was there because I never. No, it was the second time. The first time he did get carted off, but I think it was the second time when he got arrested. They went up. Loads of people went up outside Westminster police station and were chanting and stuff, making so much noise. That Graham got arrested, got released, right? So anyway, he had to go to Westminster Magistrates Court. Oh, excuse me, dry throat. Corona Verona. And when he went into Westminster Magistrates Court, there's the police, the Crown Prosecution Service, and a female, I think he said it was a female judge. Anyway, it was a judge. And the judge said to Graham, what evidence do you bring today to put forward? And Graham said, right, he says, here's the Queen's coronation oath. And here is the Bill of Rights of 1688-89. And the Queen went, the judge went, oh, crikey. Said to the CPS, what evidence do you bring forward? They said, none, we're withdrawing. I looked at the police and said, what have you got? No, nothing. No, all our cameras were off on the day. No, they was all switched off. Yeah, we've got nothing to put forward. We're retracting. And the judge looked at Graham and said, you're free to leave, free to go. Thanks for coming. Thank you. That's all he did. That's all he did was he placed constitutional lockdowns and restraints that were placed upon the Crown to limit them, and he walked out a free man. And there's is he a free man on the land? That's just that word conspiracy theorists and free man land they're all created by the state, people, to be buzzwords, to be stereotypical, so that you dismiss things instead of seeing them for what they really are and taking them with merit and discerning upon them for yourself. That's you're a conspiracy theorist. That's all Ike's ever got over the years. Well, no, David Icke talks a lot of truth. Some of the stuff he talks about I don't truck with, but saying we're all beautiful, we're all individual, we all have that right to do that, right? So the point I'm getting to, all these people are getting in such hot water. Paul Golding, I think he's had a massive fine. So why pay the fines? Discharge it. You know, they have no right to be doing this to us. The state has limitations placed on it, right? This shouldn't be going on. But yet, they've done him. He's been done for crimes of terrorism. What? For exercising his freedom of speech? I'm not too sure. We've got a guy out there at the minute, and I haven't got the time to research it, nor do I care to. A guy called Greg Hallett, who's claiming to be the King of England, and he's trying his hardest to get back into Buckhouse and get it all sorted out. Well, he's got his PayPal link up here to contribute towards it, and I've never asked anyone for a penny, nor will I. Do I want to see another king and queen? Not particularly. So, yeah, just be mindful. That's all I'm saying. He's probably a lovely guy, but who knows? I always question things like that when they pop up on my Thingamy Bob. Police are begging tattletales to stop calling 911 on neighbours for violating social distancing. The CPS actually, common sense rules and rules again, because the CPS have said, look, all this social distancing is a request. It's not a law. There's no law that says you must obey social distancing, and you should not have to obey anything, because if you have to have an obey, you're living in an oppression. All right, and I hate oppression. I have to be free in this existence. If not, I would rather die and go back to where it is we all come from. So the CPS have already told us and ruled, right, correctly, that social distancing is a request from ministers, but not law, and that the police have no power or authority whatsoever to enforce it. So why are we all pandering, and why are we all accepting fines? And they've said that all fines, things like catkins flying in, they've already said that all fines issued are ultra vires, which is outside of the law. So you shouldn't be paying them. But you bet that the muggles will be out there paying them. They'll learn the hard way. And we all learn the hard way. So we're moving on. There's a lady on social media, Sandy Gold. She's on Q UK. So Q is this quantum thing that everyone thinks that Trump and all that's involved with. It's fantastic. It's pretty good if it wants to keep you busy, keeps you busy. Walked past Buckingham Palace yesterday. This was 3 hours ago. The coat of arms has still not been replaced since the lorry hit it last year. There are 3 gates to the lizard cage. So it's not been replaced. There was a lorry hit it last year, the Lion and the Unicorn. As we've seen, the Lion and the Unicorn on the new Downing Street has all changed. The unicorn is no longer tied to the ground. You've got to pay attention to all this symbology and stuff. We've had a Daily Mail report that a policeman kicked out the force for stealing up to 7 fry-ups. So we've got a young copper, PC Jamie Larman, took the meals at a training centre at Reading. So he's taken 7 fry-ups and he's been kicked out of the job. That's mental health. That's something wrong with that. Food's not a weapon, people. And food, like your kids go to school, oh, can't pay for school meals, can't have grub. Mate, why are you all paying taxes when you go to work? Why are you all paying your taxes to your lovely HMRC, this fictitious agency? Why are you all paying your taxes if your kids can't get free school meals? I thought that's what taxes were supposed to pay for. Yeah? I thought taxation was for so that kids could have free schooling, free school meals, free education. Education was supposed to be free at point of entrance, wasn't it? So this lad, he's only young, and I want to explain something to you. Let me tell you, police people are on the breadline. We've had my friend John, who collects all tin cans up Liverpool way, and then he takes them to the scrap, weighs them in, cashes them in, and he gives all that money and does food banks and helps and feeds the homeless. And by the way, we had the councils all the other month getting all the homeless people off the street. That's all gone by the wayside. They're all back out on the streets now. It's lip service. That's all you get from public servants is lip service. You get no real action. You don't get no real solutions. We're not looked after. They prey on us, but they pay lip service. So this copper's been kicked out of his job for nicking 7 fry-ups. Now, my friend John up in Liverpool went to a police meeting. They have these meetings where you can ask your master race a few questions every now and again. And he went there, and this chief constable sort of sat there with his posh uniform on, with his lovely lapels and his hat, and looking all, sexy times, looking all authoritative like they do. And John took great delight in letting all the people in the audience there and everyone that was on the panel know that 6 of that chief constables will go into the local food bank because they can't afford to eat, because their rent rates and bills are too much each month. A copper only earns 30 grand a year, ladies and gentlemen. That's not a fortune. After tax, that's about £500 a week. What do you get for £500 a week now? Nothing. If you've got mortgages and bills and rent and all the other stuff, car tax, this tax, that tax, this tax, that tax, £500 a week goes in a heartbeat. It just disappears. So many constables are now forced to go to food banks to get their food. Trudy Orm says, from April the 20th, the standard personal allowance will increase to £12,500 with the R8 tax threshold to increase to 50. Fantastic. Stuart James, that's not by chance something has been released. I'm not too sure what you're saying there, my lovely. Haven't paid tax in the last couple of years, Merv. I bet you feel proud, son. I bet you feel proud you're doing something right for the people, right? Because that's what I did. I started to starve the beast. Over 10 years ago, I knew that things weren't going too right. And I thought, what difference can I make in the world? Well, I can start airing my views. That's civil disobedience. That's me standing in lawful rebellion. And I can deny all these crown corporations any oxygen and breath and currency. And that's what I did. And I'm not fighting any wars. I'm not fighting, but I'm starving the beast, trust me. And I'm hurting the beast because many have followed. And it's a great thing. Look, if I was in charge of the police, I would smash them back down to a service straight away. I would make sure they go back to the common law straight away and the rule of law. And people are always saying to me, what's the answer, Dave? How can we bring this country back to greatness? How can we bring decency back to this country? It's simple. We've done it before. The rule of law. That's why you've got the scales on top of the Old Bailey with that woman holding them big bronze gold scales up the top there. That's the rule of law, where everything's equal, where the judiciary is on one side and the people are on the other side, 50-50. Even Stevens. Everyone's equal under law, right? By the law. That's the truth. I would bring the old bill straight back to common law. No injury, no harm, no loss. And I would double their wages. I would give them 50 grand a year or 60 grand a year, whatever it is that they need to have decent lives. And I would put the pride back into them and say, listen, you keep the streets safe, but we're back to the rule of law now. No more nicking people for no tax, no insurance, no MOT, because that's all bollocks, excuse my French. And that bollocks is the legal word, Latin word for legal with one L. So I'm going to use it. And all the words are defined in the English dictionary anyway, even the swear words. Now, a friend of mine was dragged into court a few years ago for swearing at a copper and using some, as they deem it, if you swear again at me, I'm going to nick you. Are you a snowflake, constable? Are you going to let my common language offend you so deeply that you're going to beat me and take me down and put me in the cells for a day? Is that right? That you're such a snowflake, you can't take criticism? Is that what's going on here nowadays in England in 2020? So my friend went to court and the constable turned up in all their finery, all their regalia, looking extra sharp, but as thick as pig shit underneath. And the judge turned around, or the magistrate said to my friends, on such and such a day at such and such a time, did you call PC over there, blah, blah, blah. Did you tell him to F off? He said, yeah, I did. Oh, he went, oh, all right then. You sure of that? He said, yeah, I did. Yeah. He said, and did you also call him a CUNT? He went, I absolutely did. Yeah, you best believe it. And the judge went, right. And he went, excuse me, before you carry on, would you like me to give you the Oxford Dictionary definitions of the words and the context in which I used them? The judge went, next case, thanks for coming, see you later. And the copper is going, what happened there? What happened there? What happened? How's he walking out? What happened? Judge. Boom. Game, set, and match. Because court's a tennis court, right? My mate went in and sucker punched him. Sucker punched them. Yeah, the word bollocks, B-O-L-O-X, is Latin for the word legal. True story. Jesus Jones, lovely to see you, mate. Thanks for tuning in. NHS getting medals now. Am I right? Am I wrong? I can't clap these people. I can't clap when my streak descends into the clapping. I put cotton wool balls in me and say, "No, it ain't happening. No, it's not happening." What have we descended in? Look, NHS is great, right? When it was not controlled like it is, because the NHS staff are fantastic on the ground floor, but you get them ones up in the ivory towers. They're not right, mate. And they've got themselves into a position where they truly believe that they exercised the hand of God. And that's really dangerous. They truly believe that they have the right to not bring someone back to life after the age of 65 if you're on a ventilator. And that's the last thing you want to get on, people, if you go into any hospital with any symptoms, is get on one of them respirators, let me tell you, because there's a very strong chance that you will go and slip into a state of unconsciousness, and there's a very strong chance that you will not be coming out. All right. And I'm not going to dress that out or try and get you into any sort of like fear-based, but I'm just telling you the truth. That could be the case. There's a great guy friend of mine on the internet, social media, Clive de Carle. Clive de Carle, CLIVEDECARLE, that's his name, is awesome. And Clive has healed so many people that have come to him with late cancers and this, and they're still living a very vibrant life. Clive de Carle, you should go and research Clive de Carle. Awesome guy, fantastic information. He's got some fantastic minerals and nutritional supplements that you can take to keep your body in alignment. Independent today, Nigel Farage condemned for boat trip into the English Channel to report migrant invasion. So you got Big Nigel using his platform. He's having a dig at the old bill here. Clearly, he's been out onto the waves of the Channel, and he has seen the French Navy escorting them over to Little England, where we seem to love taking everybody's waifs and strays from around the world. And don't get me wrong, we've started wars in many, many places, so maybe it serves us right, yeah? We've started all these wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. I mean, we tried with Afghanistan years ago. So did the Russians. The Russians disappeared and left their tanks in the desert and thought, we're getting out of here. We can't win this war. So you go out warring around the world, guess what? You know, you want to be the ambassadors for freedom. Come on, people. It's time to wake up. So the Daily Mail again reporting on the UK frontline workers will try hydroxychloroquine in clinical trials. Well done, Trump. Brian Sylvester from the Brexit Party supporters, media ridiculed real Donald Trump when he said he was taking hydroxychloroquine. Now 10,000 NHS workers are being given the anti-malaria drug to see if it can protect them against the coronavirus. Will the media now apologise to President Trump? No, they won't. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, whether you like him or you don't, I love the man. I will always say, God bless you, President Trump. May you continue to be doing what you're doing, because you, my son, are setting the world on fire. And if you ever come across my little ugly mug and you ever come to England, you want a game of golf, we're going to have a game of golf, because you're a free handicapper, which means you're pretty tasty, and I love you for it. My friend Jason Noter out there today now, blatant weather manipulation, and you still think that the planes are making clouds. Planes do not make clouds. Aeroplanes are sticking aluminiums, bariums, strontiums, all these things up into the stratosphere every day, and you wonder why you're all coming down with respiratory problems. Combine that with 5G, 64 gigahertz, and you have a Molotov cocktail for... So we'll leave that there. Let's see what else we can have a little chat about today. London in the Standard records no new corona cases in the last 24-hour period. They're all sat on the trains and the trams with their masks on. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you a little thing in biology. Your body breathes in oxygen and it gives out CO2. You don't want to be rebreathing what you're trying to expel. You really don't. And especially not for long periods of time. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe. But if you're wearing them things all day, every day, you're potentially putting yourself at massive risks. Massive risks. News at Yahoo, more than 100 countries now are calling for an independent investigation into the coronavirus crisis. You can't have an investigation. You can't have an independent investigation when they own the lot. How is anything independent? Please tell me, when the state controls everything. You can't. Tip for the day, stay off Facebook and live in the real world and watch how happier you become. Now, I think we best leave you with that one. Peeps, I will be back with you tonight I'm going to be on wakeupuk.net. You can get over to that website. You can join for free. You can come into the live chat rooms. There's lots of lovelies in there. I'm on there at 9 o'clock tonight till 10:15, maybe slightly later, who knows. And it's a great show. Last week we had Susan on there who come on, and she's now 48 years of age. She, when she was 40, was in hospital dying, and all of her internal organs were giving up the ghost and bugging on out. And she was very, very close to death, really close. She should not be alive. But somehow she managed to get through it. And when she come out, she went on a campaign to heal herself. And she got into nutrition, supplements, and some other bits and bobs. And she is now having a full bill of health. Okay. Fantastic. So she might pop back in on the show tonight with a bit of luck. I did say to her last week, pop back in. Look to America, Jesus Jones. Mate, America's doing some great things. President Donald, God bless President Donald Trump, mate. I've got so much time and admiration for that man because of what he's doing. He's just smashing it out of the park with the Obama unveiling to hydroxychloroquine. Mate, and we did say about a month or two ago with all the QAnon stuff that you'd start seeing the stuff really ramp up, and you'll start seeing Donald Trump and that and the White House coming into their own with getting all the good stuff out. So it's happening. It's absolutely happening. Donald Trump is wiping the floor with the media, and he's enjoying it as well. He's having a blast, and that's what you should all do. You should all be having a blast. You should not be doing anything with a down heart. You should be doing it with good integrity, solidness about yourself, and just having and just putting it out there. And when you do that, then the world looks slightly different. You know. I'll see you all later, peeps. I'm just off for a bit of lunch, 9 o'clock. Wakeupuk.net. Come and join. It's a fantastic platform. And if I can share it out on YouTube at the same time, I will do. But it don't seem to like the bandwidth. Don't seem to enjoy that. So I might come on slightly prior on YouTube to tease you all up and try and get you over to Wake Up UK. That's not me selling the platform at all. It's just a nice place where good, solid people hang out. All right. I'll see you all soon. Have lovely days. Enjoy the weather. Get out. Get your vitamin D, people. And when you get in of a night, don't wash it off. Let that vitamin D get into your body. If you stay out in the sun all day, and then you go home and you jump in the shower or the bath, guess what? You've washed all that vitamin D off your body. Let it absorb into your skin. All right, just get some nice cream, some natural coconut oils or carrot oils, and just rub that stuff in. Start getting some good nutrition back into your vessel, ladies and gentlemen. I love you all. Stay safe. God bless each and every one of you. Please share, like, and subscribe. Press the bell button for further notifications, and I will be back with you very soon. Take care.